Morning students. In the last session we have completed unit 1 of module 2, that is income tax authorities and their powers. What are the income tax authorities? What are their jurisdiction, designation and powers? And today's session I am going to deal with the unit 2 of module 2, that is assessment procedure and tax administration. So how the assessment of an individual is done by the income tax department and how the tax is administered. That is a topic covered. Assessment procedure and tax administration. So first I am going to explain what is assessment procedure. So while we started the income tax in the 5th semester, you have studied what is the definition of assessment. What do you mean by assessment? Assessment means the return submitted by the assessee is processed and the procedures are taken by the income tax officers and the officials. And this processing is called the assessment. When the assessee submits a return of income, the income tax department scrutinizes that return and makes some procedure against the assessee. All this procedure is called assessment, okay, or assessment procedure. So it is the responsibility. In simple words, assessment procedure means ascertainment of taxable income and tax liability of an assessee with respect to Income Tax Act 1961, Income Tax Rules 1962 and other Finance Act presented for the assessment year. All these factors influence the assessment of an individual. So, in order to complete or in order to calculate the assessment very accurately, the directions issued from the CBDT must be carefully examined. What is CBDT? In the just last finished chapter, I have explained what is CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. Okay, it is the apex authority in the income tax structure. So, the directions issued by the CBDT from time to time must be taken into consideration while making this assessment procedure. Clear? The second important term is return. It's very important for university examination. What do you mean by return? Return is a statement submitted by an assessee which discloses the details of his income during the previous year. What is return? It is a statement prepared and submitted by the assessee which discloses the details of his income during the previous year. So, the income tax department has prescribed various forms of returns for different categories of assessee. The form of return submitted by the assessee will be in different forms for different categories of assessee. And it is the responsibility of the assessee himself to prepare and submit the return of income on or before the due date of submitting the return and in the prescribed manner. നമുക്ക് തന്നിരിക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലും തന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ഡേറ്റിന് മുൻപും റിട്ടേൺ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത് ഓരോ അസസ്സിയുടെയും എന്താണ് റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി ആണ്. So it's the responsibility of the assessee to prepare the return of income. Clear? The next is the due date of filing return. I have said the assessee must submit the return of income on or before the due date. So, what is the due date of filing of return? The due date for the filing of return is different for different categories of assessee and it is prescribed by the income tax department. Even a single date, if an assessee submit the return after the due date, it will be taken as default. Okay. So, very carefully the assessee must take very alert in submitting the return on the due date. So let us discuss what are the due date of filing of return that I explained here. In case of a company or a person other than company or a working partner where the accounts of such person are to be audited, accounts of audit is compulsory, then the due date of filing of return is 30th September. In case of a company or a person other than company or a working partner, his due date of filing of return is 30th September. In all other persons, he may be an individual, company or any other person, the normal cases, the due date of filing of return is 31st July. So if I have taxable income, I have to submit the return on or before 31st July. Okay. The third one is in case a company who has to submit a report of the chartered accountant along with return, then this due date of filing of return is extended to 30th November. ഓഡിറ്റ് കമ്പൽസറി ആയിട്ടുള്ള കമ്പനികളാണെങ്കിൽ 30th സെപ്റ്റംബർ അവരിൽ തന്നെ ചാർട്ടേഡ് അക്കൗണ്ടന്റിന്റെ റിപ്പോർട്ട് സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 30th November, and in all other cases 31st July. Okay, and in such cases the government can extend the last date of filing of return according to some situation. For example, in this present scenario, due to corona, the last date of submitting of return has been extended. Instead of 31st July, it is extended to August last year. So in some situations, the government can extend the date. So suppose the last date of filing of return is a day in which the company office is closed, income tax office is closed, or is a public holiday, the assessee can submit the return just after the date when the office is open. ഒരു വർക്കിംഗ് ഡേ അല്ല, ഒരു ഓപ്പൺ എന്താ പറയുന്നത്, നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ലാസ്റ്റ് ഡേ പ്രിസ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്തേക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഹോളിഡേ ആണെങ്കിൽ, പബ്ലിക് ഹോളിഡേ ആണെങ്കിൽ, when the office is closed, the assessee can submit the return on the very next day when the office is open, and it is considered as the return is submitted on the due date. Default ആയിട്ട് കരുതില്ല, ഡ്യൂ ഡേറ്റിന് തന്നെ റിപ്പോർട്ട് സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തു എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. ഓക്കെ, so the next is return forms. I have already told there are several forms of returns according to different categories of assessee and according to the taxable income of the assessee. So ITR 1 is also called Sahaj, ITR 2, ITR 3, ITR 4, ITR 4S or Sugam, ITR 5, ITR 6, ITR 7 and ITR V5. So these are the ITR forms that I will explain in detail in the next session. Okay. And the last topic of today's session is types of return. Etra type return ഉണ്ട്. According to the nature of return submitted by the assessee and according to the purpose of the return submitted, the return is divided into different types. That is voluntary return, compulsory return, belated return, revised return, return of loss and defective return. Okay, and these 2 points that I will explain in detail. Okay.
Next, let us discuss the return forms in detail. I have already mentioned return forms are ITR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Let us discuss in detail. First one is ITR 1 or Sahaj. It is for the individuals having income from salary, house property and income from other sources. Other sources excluding winning from lottery and horse race. Okay. For individual having income from salary, house property and income from other sources, they have to submit return in ITR 1. Second, ITR 2. For individuals and Hindu undivided family not having business or professional income. Those who are not submitting return in ITR 1 and having no business or professional income must submit their return in ITR 2. Next is ITR 3. ITR 3 means for individual and Hindu undivided family being partners in a partnership firm and are not carrying out business or profession under any proprietorship. For individual being a partners in a partnership firm, but they are not carrying a business or profession under any proprietorship, they have to submit return in ITR 3. And next is the ITR 4. For ITR 4 is for individual and Hindu undivided family having income from a proprietary business or profession. ബിസിനസ് ഓർ പ്രൊഫഷണൽ ഇൻകം ഉള്ള വ്യക്തികൾക്കാണ് ITR 4 സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരുന്നത്. അതിൻ്റെ തന്നെ സബ്ബാണ് ITR 4S ഓർ സുഗം. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഫോർ ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ ആൻഡ് ഹിന്ദു അൺഡിവൈഡഡ് ഫാമിലി ഡിറൈവിംഗ് ദ ബിസിനസ് ഇൻകം and such income is computed in accordance with the special provisions in section 44AD and 44AE. Section 44AD and 44AE അതുപോലെ 44ADA. These provisions, according to these provisions, business or professional income compute ചെയ്യുന്ന അസസിക്കാണ് ITR 4S അഥവാ സുഗം സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ITR 5. These for firms, association of persons or body of individual or any other persons who have not submitted in return under ITR 7. ITR 7 പ്രകാരം സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടാത്ത എല്ലാ ഫേമിനും അസോസിയേഷൻ ഓഫ് പേഴ്സണും ബോഡി ഓഫ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വലിനും ITR 5. ITR 6. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഫോർ കമ്പനീസ് അതർ ദാൻ ക്ലെയിമിംഗ് എക്സംഷൻ അണ്ടർ സെക്ഷൻ 11. സെക്ഷൻ 11 പ്രകാരം എക്സംഷൻ ക്ലെയിം ചെയ്യാത്ത എല്ലാ കമ്പനിക്കും ITR 6. ITR 7. This form is for persons including companies required to furnish return under section 139A 4A, 139 4B, 139 4C or 139 4D. The persons including companies according to this means charitable institution, religious trust, political parties, etc. They have to submit return in form number ITR 7. The last one is ITR V or ITR 5, where the data of the return of income in form number ITR 1, 2, 3, 4 and ITR S, ITR 6 transmitted electronically without a digital signature. If in the past few years return is submitted in printed form, that is a hard copy of the return should be filled and submitted, and for this some persons may be assigned by the government for filling this application, but nowadays the return is submitted through online. So if the return in form number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 submitted through electronically but without a digital signature, such assessee should submit again a return in form number ITR 5. Clear? So these are the main return forms. ITR 1, individual having income from salary, house property and income from other sources. Any other individual, ITR 2. Individual or HEF partners but not having business income, ITR 3. Persons having business income, ITR 4. Business income under 44AD and 44AE, ITR 4S Sugam. Firm AOP or BI, ITR 5. Companies claiming exemption 11, ITR 6. Person including companies required for that is charitable institution, political parties, etc., ITR 7. Then if the forms are digitally submitted without digital signature, ITR 5. So these are the main return forms submitted by the assessee to the government. So the next topic is different types of returns. Now we have submitted different types of return forms. Return forms means if the return is submitted online, there are different forms for different categories of individual. So for companies in ITR 1, and in companies no individual HUF having no income in income from profession, ITR 1, and if the person having income in profession, ITR 4, and likewise. The next is the different types of return. Return may be in the last session I have explained what are the different types of return: voluntary return, belated return, defective return, compulsory return, etc. Then we can discuss in detail. First one is voluntary return, section 139. Voluntary, from the name itself it is clear that it is submitted voluntarily. That is, every person is bound to submit a return of income to the government if his total income exceeds a prescribed limit. If the total income of an assessee exceeds a prescribed limit, he is bound to pay income, submit income tax return to the government. Okay, and such return is called voluntary return, and such return must be submitted on or before the due date of filing the same. നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. ഇൻ ദ ലാസ്റ്റ് ക്ലാസ് I have finished what are the due date of filing of return. In case of company where accounts have to be audited 30th September, where the report from the chartered accountant should be furnished in order to claim carry forward of losses, etc. Then November 30th. In all other cases, July 31st. Okay. So, voluntary return must be submitted by every assessee whose total income exceeds a prescribed limit on or before the due date of filing of return. And voluntary return includes return submitted by individual, Hindu undivided family, association of person or body of individual or artificial juridical person. Then return submitted by company or firm, return on behalf of a charitable institution or political party, and return by others. Others means scientific association, research association, the news agency, venture capital company, trade union, mutual fund, etc. All these submitted as a submitted return is called a voluntary return. Okay. Second one is belated return. That is also clear from its name. Belated, that means return submitted by late. Okay. That is, if a person has not furnished the return of income on or before the due date of filing the same, then he can submit the same after the due date but before the completion of the assessment or before the end of the relevant assessment year. Relevant assessment year means March 31st, 2021. That is the relevant assessment year. So either before the end of the assessment year or before the completion of the assessment, which comes earlier. So if a person fails to furnish before the due date, he can submit it after the due date but before the end of the relevant assessment year or completion of the assessment, which comes earlier. Such return is called a belated return because it is submitted by late. Third one is revised return of income. Revised, that means already submitted but resubmitted. That is revised return. In this case, the assessee has already furnished a return of income, either voluntary return or belated return, but finds any omission of income or any false statement included in it. Then he can submit a revised return after rectifying all these mistakes before end of the relevant assessment year or end of completion of the assessment, which comes earlier. Clear ayo? Revised return nu anna, an assessee has already furnished a return of income but finds any omission of income, ഏതെങ്കിലും ഇൻകം അതിൽ പെടുത്താൻ വിട്ടുപോയി, or contains any false statement. Such then he can submit a revised return after rectifying. ഈ തെറ്റെല്ലാം തിരുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് ഒരു റിവൈസ്ഡ് റിട്ടേൺ അയാൾക്ക് സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. Next, return of loss. Return of loss is very important because we have already studied what is set off and carry forward of losses. If an assessee has any loss in any of the heads, he can claim exemption or he has the provision to set off and carry forward of such losses. But at that time I clearly explained that in order to claim such a set off and carry forward, the assessee must submit a return of loss. Okay, so what is return of loss? If an assessee has sustained loss under the head profit and gains of business or profession, or under the head capital gain, or from the business of maintaining horses for race purpose, then he can claim carry forward of such losses. He must submit a return of loss. Such a return may be submitted on or before the due date. Then only he can claim carry forward of losses. ഡ്യൂ ഡേറ്റിന് മുൻപ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രമേ അയാൾക്ക് ക്യാരി ഫോർവേഡ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് അനുവദിക്കുള്ളൂ. ക്ലിയർ ആയോ? ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഈസ് വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്, കമ്പൽസറി റിട്ടേൺ or it is also called return by notice. Compulsory return or return by notice. Compulsory, that means it is mandatory, നിർബന്ധമാണ് അല്ലേ? Where any person is assessable or he has not furnished the return of income on or before the due date, then assessing officer must serve a notice on such a person requiring him to furnish the return. That means if a person who is liable to submit return of income, that is if his income exceeds a prescribed limit, he is liable to pay income tax and he is liable to submit return. But if he has not voluntarily submit such a return of income, then the income tax or assessing officer may serve a notice on the assessee requiring him to submit the return. Such a return should be furnished within the time allowed in the notice. That means it is clearly mentioned in the notice that after receiving, the return must be submitted within 15 days from the receipt of such a notice. ആ നോട്ടീസ് കിട്ടി 15 ദിവസത്തിനുള്ളിൽ റിട്ടേൺ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കൃത്യമായിട്ട് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ദാറ്റ് റിട്ടേൺ ഷുഡ് ബി സബ്മിറ്റഡ് വിത്തിൻ ദാറ്റ് പ്രിസ്ക്രൈബ്ഡ് ടൈം. സച്ച് റിട്ടേൺസ് ഓർ സബ്മിറ്റഡ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് കമ്പൽസറി റിട്ടേൺ or return by notice. In such a case, assessee is liable to pay interest for late furnishing of return. അങ്ങനെ ലേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തതിന് അയാൾക്ക് എന്ത് കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും? അസസ്സിക്ക് പെനാലിറ്റി, ലൈബിൾ ടു പേ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ്, ലേറ്റ് ആയതിന് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും. ഓക്കെ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് കമ്പൽസറി റിട്ടേൺ ഓർ റിട്ടേൺ ബൈ നോട്ടീസ്. ദെൻ സിക്സ്ത് വൺ ഈസ് ഡിഫക്റ്റീവ് റിട്ടേൺ ഓഫ് income. Defective means where the assessing officer considers that the return of income furnished by the assessee is defective. Defective means if there is any omissions of income, if it contains any false statements, if there is any calculation mistakes and etc., he may intimate the defect to the assessee and give him an opportunity to rectify the defect within a period of 15 days from the date of such intimation. തന്നിരിക്കുന്ന റിപ്പോർട്ടിൽ റിട്ടേണിൽ ഒരു ഡിഫക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ദ അസസിംഗ് ഓഫീസർ വിൽ ഇൻഫോം ദ അസസി ദാറ്റ് ഡിഫക്റ്റ് ആൻഡ് ആസ്ക്ഡ് ഹിം ടു സബ്മിറ്റ് എ റിവൈസ്ഡ് റിട്ടേൺ വിത്തിൻ 15 days of receipt of such a intimation. If the defect is not rectified with the time allowed, then the return shall be treated as invalid. If the assessee has not submitted a revised return within that stipulated time, that return submitted by the assessee is treated as invalid. However, he can rectify the defect after the expiry of the period, but before the assessment is made, the assessing officer may condone the delay and treat the return as valid return. If he submitted a revised return before the completion of his assessment, then even though it is late, the assessing officer may treat that return as valid one. Okay, but he may subject to some penalty. പെനാൽറ്റി കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും, പക്ഷെ അതിനെ വാലിഡ് ആയിട്ട് അയാൾ ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. സോ ദീസ് ആർ ദ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ടൈപ്സ് ഓഫ് റിട്ടേൺ. വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ഫോർ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, എയ്തർ ഫോർ 4 മാർക്സ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. വാട്ട് ആർ ദ ടൈപ്സ് ഓഫ് റിട്ടേൺസ് എന്നുള്ള 4 മാർക്കിന് ചോദിക്കുക. അതർവൈസ് ഈച്ച് റിട്ടേൺ ആസ് 2 മാർക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ഡിഫക്റ്റീവ് റിട്ടേൺ, എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ compulsory return, likewise 2 mark question. Clear? So that is the main topic covered in the today's session. Then one more, the last topic of this session, signing the return. Who are liable to sign the return? Now the return is submitted electronically, so it is digitally signature. Digital signature is put, and signing is in the case of an individual himself. In the case of Hindu undivided family, Karta must sign the document. In case of a company, managing director. In case of a firm, managing partner. In case of a political party, the chief executive officer of the party. Local authority, principal officer. In case of an association, any member of the association. And in case of any other person, the person competent to act on his behalf. Okay, കമ്പനിയുടെ കേസിൽ മാനേജിംഗ് ഡയറക്ടർ സൈൻ ചെയ്യണം, ഇൻഡിവിജ്വലിൻ്റെ കേസിൽ ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ സൈൻ ചെയ്യണം, ഹിന്ദു അൺഡിവൈഡഡ് ഫാമിലിയുടെ കേസിൽ കർത്ത സൈൻ ചെയ്തിരിക്കണം, പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ പാർട്ടി ആണെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ ചീഫ് എക്സിക്യൂട്ടീവ് ഓഫീസർ, അങ്ങനെ മറ്റേതെങ്കിലും വ്യക്തിയുടെ പേരിലാണെങ്കിൽ ആരാണോ ഹൂ ഈസ് കോമ്പീറ്റൻറ്റ് ടു ആക്ട് ഓൺ ഹിസ് ബിഹാഫ്, ഹി മസ്റ്റ് സൈൻ ദ document. Then manners in furnishing the return of how the return can be submitted. എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് റിട്ടേൺ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിലേക്ക്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് മാനേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഫർണിഷിംഗ് ദ റിട്ടേൺ ഓഫ് ഇൻകം. ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ, ഇലക്ട്രോണിക്കലി അണ്ടർ ഡിജിറ്റൽ സിഗ്നേച്ചർ. Second one, transmitting the data in the return electronically and electronic verification code. Third one, transmitting the data in the return electronically and thereafter submitting the verification of the return in form number ITR 5. Filing of return himself or through an agent. Assessee can furnish the return of his income himself through an agent. Next, filing of return through computer readable media. The last one, filing of return through tax return preparers, TRP. That is a person I have mentioned in the first session. That is, there are some people who are liable to fill the return for the assessee. They are not tax return preparers, and they do the services for a service charge. Okay, so these are the various forms of submitting return, manner in which the return is submitted, and most probably most cases the assessee submitted the return through electronically with the digital signature. Then the assessee shall be liable to pay simple interest at the rate of 1% for every month or part thereof if the assessee makes any default in furnishing the return of income. Then he is liable to pay interest at the rate of simple interest at the rate of 1% for every month or part thereof. Where no return has been furnished, the interest shall be charged till the date of completion of best judgment assessment. That we will discuss in the next session, what is best judgment assessment. Okay, so in case of no return has been furnished, the interest shall be charged till the date of completion of best judgment assessment. That's all.